Hello and welcome to Sabha TV. You're watching News Tonight with the host Rajya Kane. Now, before we go over to the headlines, there is a small appeal for COVID-19 pandemic. The Rajya Sabha TV appeals to all its viewers to stay safe from COVID-19 pandemic, wear face masks, and also maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember, these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. Now it's time for the headlines. Well, government committed to purchase crops at the MSP, asserts Prime Minister Modi. Praises contribution of food and agriculture organizations in India. Releases 75 rupee coin to mark 75th anniversary. Responding letters from women from across India, Prime Minister shows government will take decisions on revising minimum age of marriage for girls as soon as committee submits reports. Well, high-level central team sent to 5 states to support and guide COVID management efforts. Coronavirus cases continue to decline across the country. Guidelines issued for cultural programs. Nomination process ends for second phase of Bihar election. Lok Janshakti Party released list of 53 candidates. Prime Minister Modi to address 12 rallies in the state. And NSG celebrates 36th Foundation Day. Vice President and Prime Minister express best wishes. Say the country is proud of its effort in ensuring national security. But now news in details. To mark the 75th anniversary of Food and Agriculture Organization, Friday, Prime Minister Modi released a commemorative coin of 75 rupee denomination. He said release of coin indicates high regard in which 130 crore Indians hold FAO for pivotal role it has played to curb malnutrition in the country. On the 75th anniversary of United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, Prime Minister Narendra Modi complimented the organization for playing a pioneering role in raising farm productivity and trying to eradicate starvation and malnutrition across the world, including India.
आज जो 75 रुपये का विशेष सिक्का जारी किया गया है, वो भारत की 130 करोड़ से अधिक जनता जनार्दन की तरफ से आपकी सेवा भावना का सम्मान है। FAO के वर्ल्ड फूड प्रोग्राम को इस वर्ष का नोबेल शांति पुरस्कार मिलना भी एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण सीमा चिन्ह है।
He said in the last 6 years, the government has been investing in infrastructure facilities. The Prime Minister also highlighted efforts taken by government to fight malnutrition.
साथियों, बीते कुछ महीनों में पूरे विश्व में कोरोना संकट के दौरान भूखमरी, कुपोषण को लेकर अनेक तरह की चर्चाएं हो रही हैं। बड़े से बड़े एक्सपर्ट्स अपनी चिंताएं जता रहे हैं कि क्या होगा, कैसे होगा। इन चिंताओं के बीच भारत पिछले 7-8 महीनों से लगभग 80 करोड़ गरीबों को मुफ्त राशन उपलब्ध करा रहा है। इस दौरान भारत ने करीब 1.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए का खाद्यान्न गरीबों को मुफ्त बांटा है।
The Prime Minister said the gross enrollment ratio of girls in schools has been higher than that of boys for first time because of the government's efforts.
मुझे देश भर की ऐसी जागरूक बेटियों की तरफ से चिट्ठियां भी आती हैं कि जल्दी से इसका निर्णय करो, कमेटी का रिपोर्ट अभी तक क्यों आया नहीं। मैं उन सभी बेटियों को आश्वासन देता हूं कि बहुत ही जल्द रिपोर्ट आते ही उस पर सरकार अपनी कार्यवाही करेगा।
Prime Minister Modi released 17 new biofortified varieties of 8 crops on World Food Day. He said these varieties are being provided to farmers to boost production of high nutrition crops. The Prime Minister said the government is committed to procure agriculture crops at minimum support price, adding that recent agri-reforms reflect India's commitment to global food security.
हाल में जो 3 बड़े कृषि सुधार हुए हैं, वो देश के एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर का विस्तार करने में, किसानों की आय बढ़ाने में बहुत महत्वपूर्ण कदम है। बीते 6 साल में देश की इन कृषि मंडियों में बेहतर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तैयार करने के लिए 2,500 करोड़ रुपए से अधिक का निवेश किया जा चुका है।
The Prime Minister also praised the farmers' initiative during the COVID-19 pandemic to help the country fight malnutrition. Modi said farmers have broken the previous record in food grains production this time. Ravindra Singh Sharaun's report for Rajya Sabha TV. Well, 16th October, World Food Day marks foundation of Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations in 1945. In 1979, for the first time, it was observed as a day for action against hunger. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu called on people to take collective action to eradicate problems of malnutrition and hunger. He urged people to do their bit by reducing wastage of food in our households. He also urged youngsters to adopt healthy dietary habits and shun junk food. Well, this year, World Food Day is devoted to highlight food and agriculture as a significant part of COVID-19 response. The theme for World Food Day 2020 is Grow, Nourish and Sustain together. Our actions are in our future. Now, it stresses the need for global solidarity to help all populations and especially the most vulnerable to recover from crisis and to make food systems more resilient and robust.
We need to make food systems more resistant to volatility and climate shocks. We need to ensure sustainable and healthy diets for all and to minimize food waste. And we need food systems that provide decent, safe livelihoods for workers. We have the know-how and the capacity to create a more resilient, equitable and sustainable world. On this World Food Day, let us make a commitment to grow, nourish and sustain together.
And now a look at the COVID-19 situation in the country. India continues to report one of the lowest deaths per million population, which stands at 81 on Friday. Now, case fatality rate has been on the downslide continuously at the current figures of 1.52%. It is lowest since 22nd March 2020. Take a look at the details.
Active COVID-19 cases in India continued their downward trend on Friday, even as the number of recovered patients outnumbered daily increase in cases. 70,338 patients recovered in the last 24 hours, taking total recoveries to 64.53 lakh. Recoveries exceeded fresh cases by nearly 7,000 on Friday. The recovery rate improved to 87.56%. Active cases reduced to 8,04,000, making it only 10.92% of the total case load. India reported 63,371 new COVID-19 cases and 895 deaths in the last 24 hours. India has had 73.70 lakh COVID-19 cases so far, while 1,12,161 lives have been lost to the virus. The COVID-19 case fatality rate further declined to 1.52%. Lowest deaths per billion population in the world has been another constant feature for the country so far. India tested 10.28 lakh COVID samples on Thursday. As many as 9.22 crore samples have been tested in the country so far. Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh were the 5 worst hit states with the highest number of cases in the last 24 hours. They accounted for 55% of the country's fresh infections. Maharashtra, Karnataka, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh reported the highest number of deaths in the same period. The centre has dispatched high-level teams to Kerala, Karnataka, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh and West Bengal to assist in strengthening containment, surveillance, testing and infection prevention. These states have been reporting a surge in the number of COVID cases in the recent days. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, in view of the coronavirus pandemic, the Culture Ministry has issued guidelines for holding events. Well, the government has made it mandatory for artists and crew to furnish a valid COVID negative test certificate. It has further said the entry of visitors and patrons without masks should be barred. Further, it has recommended a seating of only 50% seats for the audience, and the ministry said the standing operating procedures are to be followed by management of theatres and host institutions as well as entertainment or creative agencies, artists, crew or any other persons who hire an auditorium or any other open or closed space for cultural events. It said digital no contact transactions should be preferred to issue, verify or pay the tickets, and contact details of all customers should be taken at the time of booking of tickets to facilitate contact tracing. No cultural activity should be allowed in containment zones, it also added. Well, leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, has said that he has tested positive for COVID-19 and Azad has quarantined himself at home. The 71-year-old Congress leader shared the information on Twitter and asked those who came in contact with him in recent past to follow protocols on self-quarantine and testing. Well, the pandemic situation continues to worsen worldwide, with total cases crossing 39.2 million and deaths total surpassing 1.1 million. Globally, over 29 million people have recovered. With over 18.18 million cases, the Americas are the most affected, accounting for nearly half of the global cases. Following the Americas are Southeast Asia and Europe, reporting over 8.2 million and 7.4 million cases respectively. In Europe, coronavirus outbreak has accelerated significantly amid autumn and winter seasons. Britain had a daily count of over 18,900 new infections, raising its tally to over 6.73 lakh cases. From Saturday, Britain is raising its coronavirus alert level from medium to high. Under Tier 2 level, gatherings are limited to 6 people, while night curfew will be imposed on bars and restaurants. France had a record high of 30,621 new cases on Friday. It's imposing a strict 4-week curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. in Paris and 8 other high caseload cities from Saturday. Other measures include restrictions on wedding parties and gathering up to 6 people. Well, Germany's daily tally of new coronavirus cases surged to a record high of 6,638 on Thursday. It now has over 3.49 lakh cases, including 9,816 deaths. Italy had a daily spike of 8,804 new COVID-19 cases, raising its tally to over 3.81 lakh cases. Other European countries, including Czech Republic, Poland and Switzerland, are also facing a resurgence of infections. Well, moving on, filing off the nomination for second phase of Bihar Assembly elections ended on Friday. The scrutiny of nominations will be held on Saturday, and the last date of withdrawal of candidature will be October 19. For this phase, polling will take place in 94 constituencies spread over 17 districts on November 3rd. Bihar will vote for 243-member assembly in 3 phases on October 28th, November 3rd and November 7th. The counting of votes will be held on November 10th. Well, in Bihar, campaigning for the first phase of assembly elections on 28 October has intensified. Addressing a press conference on Friday, senior BJP leader Devendra Fadnavis informed that Prime Minister Modi will address 12 rallies in Bihar in support of NDA candidates. Fadnavis said the Prime Minister will address the first set of rallies in Sasaram, Gaya and Bhagalpur on October 23rd.
बिहार में आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की सारी रैलियां ये एनडीए की रैलियां होगी। उन सभी रैलियों में स्वयं मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार जी और जहां पर लॉजिस्टिक्स के कारण वो उपस्थित नहीं रह पाएंगे वहां जेडीयू के वरिष्ठ नेता, हम पार्टी के वरिष्ठ नेता, वीआईपी पार्टी के वरिष्ठ नेता ये उपस्थित होंगे। प्रधानमंत्री जी बिहार में 12 रैलियां करेंगे। सबसे पहले 23 तारीख को आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी सासाराम में पहली रैली करेंगे, गया में दूसरी रैली करेंगे और भागलपुर में तीसरी रैली करेंगे।
The Prime Minister will also speak at public meeting on October 28th, November 1st and 3rd. Now, addressing an election rally in Banka, BJP President JP Nadda listed out a slew of development measures launched by Modi government for Bihar. Well, the Congress released its second and final list of 49 candidates for the remaining two phases of elections on Thursday. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi will kickstart poll campaign for the party on October 23rd. Meanwhile, the Mahagathbandhan comprising RJD, Congress and left parties also declared candidates in all of their 243 seats they will be contesting in Bihar elections. Well, the nomination process for by-elections to 54 assembly seats in 10 states concluded on Friday. The nominations will be scrutinized on Saturday. The last date for withdrawal of candidature is October 19th, and the polling on all 54 seats will take place on November 3rd, while counting of votes will be done on November 10th. While polls will be held for 28 seats in Madhya Pradesh, 8 seats will go to polls in Gujarat, 7 in Uttar Pradesh, 2 each in Jharkhand, Karnataka and Nagaland, and 1 each in Chhattisgarh, Haryana and Telangana. Well, India has cautioned China against interfering in its internal affairs. In a tough message to China on Thursday, External Affairs Ministry said it expects countries not to comment on India's internal matters as much as they expect the same of others. India on Thursday asserted that Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh have been, are and would remain its integral part.
China has no locus standi to comment on India's internal matters. We hope that countries will not comment on India's internal matters as much as they expect the same for others. Arunachal Pradesh is also an integral and inalienable part of India. This fact has also been clearly conveyed to the Chinese side on several occasions, including at the highest level.
The remarks aimed at China come in the backdrop of the fact that while India has never commented on Hong Kong or Taiwan in recent months, China has regularly been making provocative comments on Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh and Arunachal Pradesh.
So I think it's a very reasonable and fair approach coming from New Delhi, asking Beijing not to comment on the internal matters and follow the protocol. And I think that tough message really has been given out by the Minister of External Affairs.
The External Affairs Ministry spokesperson also cautioned China to refrain from making adverse comments on the construction inside Indian territories. He said the construction inside Indian territories is done to fulfill the sovereign economic and security needs of the country.
People of India have started reacting against China, and they are asking the government to speak in the same tone as Chinese are speaking. It is a billion-dollar question: how far, how long India can maintain restraint. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha television in Delhi.
Well, the Finance Ministry has opened special window to states for meeting the GST compensation cess shortfall. Under this, the central government will borrow 1.1 lakh crore on behalf of states to meet the GST shortfall. The Finance Ministry stated that the amount borrowed will be passed on to states as a back-to-back loan in lieu of GST compensation cess releases. The government also said this arrangement will not reflect in the fiscal deficit of the state and will appear as capital receipts for state governments. Additionally, under this option, the states are also eligible to carry forward the unutilized borrowing space for next fiscal year. Well, time for a very short break. More on the other side. Keep watching News Tonight.
Watch The Big Picture with me, Frank Rausen Pereira, at 9:30 p.m.
Five million subscribers. 1 million subscribers in less than 10 months. Over 17 million hours of content watched online. RSTV, one of the fastest growing YouTube channel. 5 million subscribers, the count is on.
A labyrinth of hundreds of narrow stairway passages, is a significant and historical component of what you popularly know as Bara Imambara. Some of these narrow stairways have dead ends, some end at precipitous drops, while others lead to entrance or exit points. Historically, Bhul Bhulaiya was constructed to confuse the enemy intruder, and the narrow lanes of the labyrinth can make anyone feel lost. The structure contains various strategically built hollows in the corridors.
Well, welcome back. Now, the Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari on Friday laid the foundation stone for 16 national highway projects in Andhra Pradesh. The total length of the road is 1,411 kilometers. Speaking on the occasions, Gadkari said that length of national highway in Andhra Pradesh before May 2014 was 4,193 kilometers, which has now increased to 6,860 kilometers. He said there has been an increase of 64% in national highway length during the past 6 years. The minister also said that in line with Prime Minister Modi's vision for New India, development of world-class transport infrastructure has been prioritized through incentives like Bharatmala Pariyojana.
Today we are marching ahead for the development of new infrastructure in Andhra Pradesh. The total NH in Andhra Pradesh was 4,193 kilometers. Now till May 2020 it comes to 6,860 kilometers.
Well, Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank on Friday addressed the students from ASEAN member states who have been selected for the ASEAN PhD Fellowship Program funded by India. The minister underscored the academic and research relations between India and ASEAN member states will be mutually beneficial for both the regions. The minister added that APFP will also open many doors to synergize in the field of technology and research for academicians, researchers and scientists from India and ASEAN countries. The ASEAN PhD Fellowship Program was announced on 25 January 2018 by Prime Minister Modi in presence of leaders of all the 10 ASEAN member states. Under the APFP, 1,000 fellowships will be provided exclusively to ASEAN citizens.
इस फेलोशिप की मदद से आसियान देशों के 1000 छात्र हमारे विश्व प्रसिद्ध भारतीय प्रौद्योगिकी संस्थानों आईआईटीज में पीएचडी कर सकेंगे। मुझे खुशी है कि आसियान देशों के आने वाले छात्रों को हमारे देश, हमारी शिक्षण संस्थाओं द्वारा भारतीय बच्चों की तरह शिक्षा अर्जन का प्रवेश प्राप्त होगा। पीएचडी पूर्ण
Well, the first sitting of the Standing Committee on Railways for the year 2020-21 was held on Friday. After the reconstitution of the committee, Radha Mohan Singh has been appointed as chairman of the committee.
The Standing Committee on Railways held a sitting on Friday to consider the subjects for examination during the year 2020-21. From the upper house, members on the committee are Narhari Amin, Udayaranje Bhosle, H.D. Devegowda, N. Gokul Krishnan, Manoj Kumar Jha, J. Santosh Kumar, Phulo Devi Neetam, Saroj Pandey, Ashok Siddharth, and B. Narayan Singh. Members representing the lower house on the committee are T.R. Balu, Ranjana Ben Bhatt, Pankaj Chaudhary, Abu Hasim Khan, Sangeeta Kumari Singh, Kaushlendra Kumar, Diya Kumari, Jaskor Meena, Sunil Kumar Mondal, Koin Ojha, Keshri Devi Patel, Mukesh Rajput, N. Redeppa, Arvind Ganpat Sawant, Amar Singh, Radha Mohan Singh, Kodikunal Suresh, Gopal G. Thakur, Sadhvi Pragya Singh Thakur. The committee considers the demands for grants of the Ministry of Railways and examines such bills pertaining to the Ministry of Railways as referred by the Chairman of Rajya Sabha or the Speaker of Lok Sabha. It also considers national basic long-term policy documents pertaining to railways presented to the House. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Parliamentary Committee on Industry held its introductory meeting on Friday. After the reconstitution of committee, Rajya Sabha member Dr. K. Keshwar Rao has been appointed as chairman of the committee.
Along the introductory meeting, the Committee on Industry adopted report on action taken by the government on the recommendations or observations on demand for grants 2019-20 and 2020-21 for Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Department of Heavy Industries and the Department of Public Enterprises. Members representing the upper house on the Committee on Industry are Birendra Prasad Desha, Subhashish Chakraborty, Shwet Malik, Jos K. Mani, Rani Nara, Subhash Chandra Bose Pillai, K.C. Ramamurthy, Dr. K. Keshava Rao, Sanjay Seth and Ami Yagnik. Members from the lower house are Hanuman Beniwal, Mimi Chakraborty, B. Shankarji, Annapurna Devi, Hemant Godse, S.T. Hassan, S. Jyothimani, Mohan Bhai Kalyanji Bhai, Ravindra Kushwaha, Poonam Ben Hemant Bhai, Bidyut Marban Mahato, Rampreet Mandal, Vincent H. Pala, Chirag Paswan, T. RVS Ramesh, Y.S. Avinash Reddy, Gomti Sai, Ravi Kishan, Sunil Soren, Sunil Dattatray, and S. Thirunav Kusrar. The Committee on Industry has within its jurisdiction Ministries of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. It is serviced by the Rajya Sabha Secretariat. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, moving on, Prime Minister Modi on Friday spoke to Chief Ministers of Karnataka and Maharashtra regarding the situation arising out of unprecedented torrential rains in the state. Prime Minister Modi pledged all possible central government support in the ongoing rescue and relief work to both the Chief Ministers. He also assured the people of flooded states that nation stands in solidarity with them. Telangana government has requested centre to release 1,350 crore as immediate assistance for relief and rehabilitation work in areas affected by incessant rain. Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao wrote to Prime Minister seeking immediate release of rupees 1,350 crore. The letter followed by the high-level meeting convened by Telangana Chief Minister K.C. Rao to review flood situation. The flood situation in many parts of Karnataka remain grim. 41 relief camps have been set up where 4,864 people have taken shelter. Heavy rains and floods have claimed at least 47 lives in Maharashtra's Pune, Aurangabad and Konkan division. Over 2,300 houses have been damaged and 21,000 people have been moved to safer places. Crops spread over 57,000 hectares in Pune, Solapur, Satara and Sangli districts have suffered damages. Well, and finally, the 36th Raising Day of National Security Guards was celebrated on Friday. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Modi and others greeted NSG personnel and their families on the occasion. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu praised valor of NSG personnel, calling NSG India's premier counter-terror force. He said, over the years, it has played a key role in combating terrorism in the country and making it a safer place to live. The Prime Minister Modi wished National Security Guard personnel and their families, saying the NSG plays a crucial role in India's security apparatus. Home Minister Amit Shah also greeted NSG and said his personnel had always protected the nation with their bravery and courage and dedication. The NSG was set up as federal contingency force in 1984 to undertake specialist counter-terrorist and counter-hijack and hostage rescue operations. And finally, before we leave, Rajya Sabha TV appeals to all its viewers to stay safe from COVID-19 pandemic. Wear face masks, wash hands and face regularly and maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember, these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic.